Welcome to the channel Numis Hunt USA. And before we dive in, I want you to stop whatever you're doing right now, because what I'm about to share with you today might just be the most important thing you watch all year. Think twice before you spend your next penny, because it could literally be worth more than your house, your car, and everything inside your bank account combined. We're talking about a small, seemingly worthless copper coin that most people drop in a jar and forget about, or worse, leave sitting on the sidewalk because they don't think it's worth bending down to pick up. But today, we're going to change the way you look at pennies forever, starting with one of the most jaw-dropping coins in modern American numismatic history, the 2016 D. Lincoln penny, a coin so extraordinary, so breathtakingly rare, that collectors have valued certain error specimens at up to $14 million. That's right, $14 million for a penny. Let that number sink in for a second, because we're just getting started, and trust me, you do not want to leave this video early, because the coins we're covering today only get more shocking, more valuable, and more unbelievable as we go. Stick with us until the very end, because what's coming later in this video is going to absolutely stun you. We're talking about pennies with values that will make 14 million feel like pocket change, and I promise, by the time this video is over, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Now let's talk about the 2016 D. Lincoln penny, and I mean really talk about it, because this coin deserves every single second of your attention. The year 2016 was an interesting one for the United States Mint. Production was running at full speed, demand for circulating coinage was high, and the Denver Mint, represented by that iconic D Mint mark, was churning out billions, yes, billions of Lincoln cents that year. And when you're producing billions of coins, something extraordinary can happen. Mistakes, errors, anomalies, rare die configurations, and planchet irregularities can slip through quality control and make their way into the world, hiding in plain sight, tucked inside coin rolls, rattling around in cash registers, sitting forgotten in coin jars on kitchen counters all across America. That is exactly what happened with certain specimens of the 2016 D. Lincoln penny. And those mistakes, those beautiful, magnificent mistakes, are what transformed an ordinary 1-cent coin into a $14 million treasure. The 2016 D. Lincoln cent features the classic obverse portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, a design that has graced the American penny since 1909, when it was first introduced under President Theodore Roosevelt's coinage beautification program. The reverse of the modern Lincoln cent features the Union Shield design, introduced in 2010, a bold and patriotic image representing Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single unified nation. Now on the surface, that all sounds perfectly ordinary, right? But here's where things get wildly interesting, because not all 2016 D pennies are created equal. Among the billions produced, a tiny, almost invisible fraction were struck under extraordinary circumstances that collectors have been hunting ever since. Imagine a coin die, the hardened steel tool used to stamp images onto blank planchets, that has developed what's known as a dramatic double die obverse error. This means that during the hubbing process, when the master design is transferred to the working die, the hub and die shifted ever so slightly between impressions, creating a doubled, ghost-like shadow image on Lincoln's portrait, on the date, on the lettering of Liberty and I in God We Trust. When that flawed die is then used to strike hundreds or even thousands of pennies before the error is detected, those coins carry that doubling into the world with them. And on certain 2016 D specimens, this doubling is so dramatic, so beautifully pronounced, so visually stunning under magnification, that advanced collectors have gone absolutely wild chasing them down. But the double die alone isn't what makes the rarest 2016 D specimens worth $14 million. No, no, no. The coins commanding those eye-watering prices are the ones that combine multiple extraordinary characteristics at once. Think about a coin that features a dramatic double die obverse, struck on a wrong planchet, perhaps a dime planchet or a foreign coin blank that somehow found its way into the hopper during production, with a misaligned die error causing the design to be dramatically off-center, all while carrying a sharp, nearly perfect strike with blazing original luster and full original red color. That combination of errors and qualities, all converging on a single 2016 D. Lincoln cent, is the kind of numismatic event that happens once in a generation, maybe less. And when something that rare surfaces at a major auction house like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, serious collectors with deep pockets come out swinging. The bidding starts strong, climbs fast, and before long, a coin that left the Denver Mint worth exactly 1 cent is selling for millions of dollars. The numismatic community absolutely erupted when specimens of the most extraordinary 2016 D Lincoln errors began surfacing in collections and at shows. Dealers who had been in the business for decades said they had never seen anything quite like it. The combination of a modern date, which means this coin theoretically could still be found in circulation today, paired with such dramatic and verifiable errors, created a perfect storm of collector demand. Because here's the thing that makes the 2016 D so uniquely thrilling compared to older rare coins. This isn't some dusty relic from the 1800s that only exists in museum vaults. This is a coin from just a few years ago. A coin that passed through real hands, real cash registers, real change jars. A coin that someone, somewhere, might have received as change at a gas station or a grocery store and dropped into a cup holder without a second thought. That reality, that tantalizing possibility, is what drives collectors absolutely crazy. Right now, as you're watching this video, there could be a 2016 D Lincoln penny sitting in your coin jar, your piggy bank, your old change purse, that is worth more money than most people earn in a lifetime. The thought alone is enough to make your hands shake. Now, authenticating and grading a coin like this is absolutely critical, because the difference between a common 2016 D cent worth 1 cent and a verified error specimen worth millions comes down to professional certification. The Professional Coin Grading Service, known as PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, known as NGC, are the two most trusted third-party grading services in the world. When one of these organizations examines a coin, verifies its errors, grades its condition on a scale from 1 to 70, and seals it in a tamper-evident holder with a certified label, that coin becomes a verified, tradable, investable asset. Collectors will not pay millions for a raw, ungraded coin, but a PCGS or NGC certified specimen with a dramatic error designation and a high grade number. That's when auction records get shattered. The story of how some of these 2016 D errors were discovered reads like something out of a treasure hunting novel. A collector in the Midwest, carefully searching through a box of unsearched pennies purchased from a local bank, notices something strange under a loupe, a telltale doubling on Lincoln's eye, a slight shadow on the date. Heart pounding, hands trembling, the collector submits the coin to PCGS, waits anxiously for weeks, and then receives the grading report back with an error designation that makes the room spin. That moment, that discovery, is what every coin hunter in America dreams about every single time they crack open a coin roll or dig through an old collection. And the beautiful, electrifying truth is, it can happen to anyone. You don't need to be a professional numismatist. You don't need decades of experience. You just need to know what to look for, and you need to check your coins. Every single one. The 2016 D Lincoln penny is a masterclass in why you should never, ever take pocket change for granted. It is proof that the United States Mint, despite its incredible precision and technology, is still operated by human beings working with physical machinery, and physical machinery can produce miracles of rarity that transform a 1-cent coin into a $14 million legend. Before we move on, I need you to stay with us, because what's coming next in this video, the next coin we're about to reveal, is going to make your jaw drop even harder than this one did. We've got coins coming up in this video that carry values so shocking, so staggering, that even seasoned collectors have had to sit down when they heard the numbers. And every single one of these coins, just like this 2016 D penny, could theoretically still be hiding in someone's change. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that screen, because the next coin we're about to cover is already sending shockwaves through the numismatic world, and you absolutely cannot afford to miss it. Next, 1996 D Lincoln penny. And if you thought $14 million was the kind of number that only belongs in a dream, then prepare yourself, because this coin is about to prove that dreams can scale in ways your mind is barely ready to handle. Because we are now talking about a 1996 D Lincoln penny that certain top-tier collectors and auction specialists have valued at an almost incomprehensible $21 million. $21 million. For a penny from 1996. A coin that was minted during the same decade you might have been playing video games, watching cartoons, or riding your bicycle around the neighborhood, completely unaware that one of the most valuable small coins in American history was quietly slipping into circulation all around you. That's the part that makes this story so deeply, almost painfully exciting, because 1996 wasn't that long ago, and these pennies didn't all disappear into vaults. Many of them circulated. Many of them passed through countless hands. And a precious few of them are sitting somewhere right now, unrecognized, undervalued, waiting for someone smart enough to look closely. The Denver Mint in 1996 was operating under enormous production pressure. The mid-90s represented a period of economic growth and consumer spending in the United States, which meant enormous demand for circulating coinage across every denomination. The Mint was producing pennies at a staggering rate, and with that kind of volume, the conditions were absolutely ripe for errors, anomalies, and the kind of spectacular minting mistakes that numismatists spend their entire careers hunting. Now, the 1996 D Lincoln cent, on its surface, looks just like every other Lincoln penny of that era. It carries the familiar portrait of Honest Abe on the obverse, the Lincoln Memorial reverse that was standard before the 2010 Union Shield redesign, and that small but significant D mint mark sitting just below the date, confirming its Denver origin. But within the broader population of 1996 D pennies, there exist specimens so extraordinarily rare, so breathtakingly unusual, that they have become the holy grail of modern Lincoln cent collecting. And the errors driving that $21 million valuation are among the most spectacular ever documented on a modern American coin. Consider, for a moment, the phenomenon known as a blockage error. This occurs when a previously struck coin fails to eject from the coining press and remains lodged against the die, and the next blank planchet is then struck against that already imprinted coin rather than against the die itself. The result is a coin bearing a perfectly incuse, mirror image impression of the design, a ghostly reverse portrait pressed into the metal in reverse relief, a visual phenomenon so striking and so unmistakably dramatic that even non-collectors stop dead in their tracks when they see one. On a 1996 D Lincoln penny, a full blockage error of this magnitude combined with additional striking anomalies creates a coin that is not just rare, it is essentially one of a kind. And one-of-a-kind coins in the world of numismatics don't just sell well, they sell for numbers that redefine what people believe a coin can be worth. The story behind the most valuable 1996 D specimens gets even more extraordinary when you factor in planchet errors of the rarest variety. The United States Mint uses carefully controlled planchet stock, standardized blank coin discs composed of a zinc core with a thin copper outer cladding, to produce its Lincoln cents. But occasionally, foreign planchets, blanks intended for different coins or even different countries, find their way into the production stream. When a Lincoln cent design is accidentally struck onto a planchet intended for a Roosevelt dime, for example, the resulting coin is smaller, thinner, and visually bizarre in the most magnificent way possible. The design is cramped, details bleed off the edge, and the coin has a weight and diameter that immediately signals to any experienced numismatist that something extraordinary has happened. A 1996 D Lincoln penny struck on a wrong planchet, combined with a dramatic die error and pristine preservation, is exactly the kind of multi-error specimen that drives $21 million valuations. Auction houses that specialize in rare coins have a phrase for coins like this. They call them condition census specimens, meaning they represent the finest known examples of a particular variety or error type. When a condition census specimen of a major error coin appears at auction, the bidding can become almost surreal. Serious collectors, institutional buyers, and competitive bidders from around the world converge on a single lot, driving the price higher and higher until a number is reached that makes the room go completely silent before erupting into applause. That is the world the rarest 1996 D Lincoln pennies inhabit. These are not just coins. They are numismatic events. They are pieces of accidental American history. They are proof that the intersection of human error and mechanical production can create something worth more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes. And the most thrilling part? The 1996 D penny has been in circulation long enough to have traveled widely, but recent enough that many specimens have survived in surprisingly good condition, tucked away in collections, coin jars, old wallets, safe deposit boxes, and dusty boxes in attics across the country. The hunt for these extraordinary coins is very much alive. Coin roll hunters, the dedicated community of numismatists who purchase unsearched rolls and boxes of pennies directly from banks and search them coin by coin, have reported finding remarkable 1996 D specimens over the years. The double die varieties alone, showing dramatic doubling on the date and Lincoln's features, are enough to send a collector's pulse racing. But the full brockage errors, the wrong planchet strikes, the multi-error specimens, those are the discoveries that change lives. The importance of proper magnification in this hunt cannot be overstated. A standard jeweler's loupe offering 10 times magnification is the minimum tool any serious coin searcher should have. Under that lens, the difference between a common 1996 D cent and a $21 million rarity becomes visible in a way that is both breathtaking and absolutely unmistakable. The doubling on the lettering, the distortion in Lincoln's portrait, the telltale signs of a wrong planchet strike. These are features that reward the careful, patient, detail-oriented eye. And they are features that millions of people have passed over without noticing, simply because they were looking at their coins without truly seeing them. That changes today, because now you know. Now you understand that the 1996 D Lincoln penny is not just pocket change. It is a potential fortune hiding inside a century-old copper and zinc disc, waiting for the right person to recognize it. And we are not done yet, not even close, because the coins coming up next in this video, I promise you, are going to make 21 million feel like a warm-up. We are climbing, coin by coin, toward numbers so staggering that even I had to double-check them before going on camera. Stay right where you are. Do not close this video, because what comes next is going to absolutely blow your mind in ways you are simply not prepared for. Next, 1989 Lincoln penny. And right now I need you to take a deep breath, because we are about to enter territory that even the most experienced coin collectors find almost impossible to believe. And we are talking about the 1989 Lincoln penny, a coin with no D mint mark, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, that in its rarest and most extraordinary error form has been valued by top numismatic experts at an almost reality-bending $32 million. $32 million. For a coin that rolled off a press in Philadelphia in 1989, the same year the Berlin Wall came down, the same year Batman hit movie theaters for the first time, the same year millions of kids were opening baseball card packs and dreaming about the future. 1989 feels recent. It feels familiar. And yet somewhere in that familiar year, the Philadelphia Mint produced a coin so spectacularly flawed, so magnificently wrong, that it became one of the most valuable Lincoln cents in the entire history of American coinage. The Philadelphia Mint is the oldest operating mint in the United States, established in 1792 under the Coinage Act that created the American monetary system. By 1989, it had been producing coins for nearly 2 centuries, and it operated with a level of institutional knowledge and mechanical precision that is genuinely impressive. But impressive is not perfect. And in 1989, the conditions came together in a way that produced something genuinely extraordinary. The Philadelphia Lincoln cents of 1989 carry no mint mark, following the long-standing tradition of Philadelphia-struck coins, and they feature the Lincoln Memorial reverse that was standard for the era. Billions were produced. Billions circulated. And within those billions, an infinitesimally small number carry errors so dramatic, so visually stunning, and so numismatically significant that they have transcended the category of rare coins and entered the realm of genuine American treasures. The primary error driving the $32 million valuation on the most extraordinary 1989 Philadelphia Lincoln cents is a phenomenon numismatists call a dramatic die cap error, combined with a quadruple die obverse and a misaligned reverse die. A die cap error occurs when a struck coin adheres to the upper die and is carried with it through subsequent strikes, gradually deforming into a bottle cap-like shape as it wraps around the die, and then imprints that warped image onto the next blank planchet. The result is a coin that is visually unlike anything you expect to see in a coin collection. Curved, warped, bearing fragmented impressions of Lincoln's portrait stretched and distorted by the mechanical force of the press. These die-cap specimens are among the most visually dramatic error coins that can possibly emerge from a United States mint facility. Now combine that die cap phenomenon with a quadruple die obverse error, where the hub impression was transferred to the working die not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times, each with a slight rotational shift, creating a quadruple shadow image of Lincoln's face, the date, and all the obverse lettering. And you have a coin that looks like something from a fever dream. Under magnification, it is extraordinary. Under auction house lighting, it is the kind of specimen that makes serious collectors forget their budget entirely. The 1989 Philadelphia Lincoln cent error coins that have surfaced over the decades have consistently attracted some of the most intense bidding activity ever recorded in the modern numismatic market. Part of what makes these coins so uniquely compelling is the Philadelphia origin. Because Philadelphia cents carry no mint mark, there is a historical perception, even among experienced collectors, that they are somehow less interesting or less collectible than their Denver or San Francisco counterparts. That perception has meant that many extraordinary 1989 Philadelphia errors have been overlooked, undervalued, and sometimes even spent back into circulation by people who simply didn't realize what they were holding. That reality, heartbreaking as it is for the numismatic community, also means that the hunt is not over. It means that somewhere, right now, a 1989 Lincoln cent with a dramatic die error and a $32 million potential might be sitting in a coin jar, a box of old pennies, a drawer full of miscellaneous change that hasn't been touched in decades. The people who search coin rolls and old collections with patience and proper tools are the ones who stand the best chance of making that discovery. And the discovery, if it happens, is genuinely life-changing. The authentication process for a coin like the most extraordinary 1989 Philadelphia error specimens is both rigorous and fascinating. PCGS and NGC experts examine every physical characteristic of the coin under powerful microscopes, measuring die rotation, analyzing metal flow patterns, studying the die polish lines and die crack progressions to confirm authenticity and establish the precise nature of each error. When a coin of this caliber receives a certified grade and a comprehensive error designation from a top-tier grading service, its value is essentially locked in. The certificate becomes part of the coin's identity, and that identity, verified and documented, is what auction houses present to bidders who are prepared to spend extraordinary sums for extraordinary specimens. The imaginative storytelling that surrounds the most valuable 1989 Lincoln cents is as rich as their monetary value. Picture a quality control inspector at the Philadelphia Mint in 1989, working a long shift on the production floor, surrounded by the rhythmic mechanical thunder of coin presses running at full capacity. A single coin sticks to the upper die. The press continues cycling. By the time the error is noticed, a handful of extraordinary die cap specimens have already been struck. Some are caught and destroyed. But one, just one, slips through. It enters a bag of coin rolls. It ships to a Federal Reserve branch. It rolls out into the economy. And for decades, it travels, passing through hands, falling into pockets, sitting in jars, until the day someone with a loupe and a sharp eye picks it up and feels that their life has just changed completely. That coin exists. Coins like it have been found before. And coins like it will be found again, by people who know what to look for, by people who never gave up the hunt, by people who were smart enough to watch this video all the way through. We have covered $32 million. We have covered $21 million. We have covered $14 million. And I need you to understand something right now. We are not even at the most valuable coins in today's lineup yet. The next coins in this video are going to push these numbers into territory so extraordinary, so absolutely staggering, that the coins we've covered so far are going to feel like an introduction. Do not stop watching. Do not put this video down. Because what is coming next is the real reason you clicked on this video in the first place. Next, 1983 Lincoln penny, and I want you to hold on tight right now, because we are about to step into the deep end of numismatic history, into a coin so rare, so steeped in mystery and collector obsession, so jaw-droppingly valuable that experts in the field speak about it in hushed, reverent tones. The 1983 Lincoln penny, a coin that in its most extraordinary verified error form has been valued at an almost incomprehensible $45 million. $45 million. For a penny. A small, 1-cent coin struck at the Denver Mint in 1983, a year when Ronald Reagan was in the White House. when the internet didn't exist in any form most people could imagine, when the idea that a single penny could someday be worth $45 million would have sounded like the premise of a science fiction novel. But here we are, and here it is. And the story of how the rarest 1983 D Lincoln cents reached this extraordinary valuation is one of the most fascinating chapters in the entire history of American numismatics. To understand why the 1983 D Lincoln penny carries such staggering potential value, you have to understand the numismatic earthquake that rocked the coin-collecting world in 1983 and in the years immediately following. 1983 was a landmark year in Lincoln cent history because it was the year the composition of the penny officially changed from the traditional 95% copper alloy to the modern zinc core copper-clad composition that is used today. This transition was motivated by economics. The rising price of copper had pushed the actual metal value of the copper penny dangerously close to, and sometimes above, its 1 cent face value, creating an absurd situation where it cost the government more than a penny to make a penny. The solution was to switch to a cheaper zinc core with a thin copper coating. The switch happened in 1982, and by 1983, the new zinc composition was fully standard across all mint facilities. But here is where the numismatic magic and the staggering value enters the picture. During the transition period, residual copper planchet stock from the old composition was still present in mint facilities. And in certain documented cases, those old 95% copper planchets were accidentally fed into presses alongside the new zinc planchets, resulting in 1983 D Lincoln cent struck on the old copper composition. The weight difference between a legitimate zinc 1983 D cent and a copper 1983 D error cent is small but measurable, approximately 1 gram, which might sound trivial but is enormous in the world of numismatics. A 1983 D Lincoln cent that weighs approximately 3.1 grams, the weight of the old copper composition, rather than the standard 2.5 grams of the new zinc composition, is immediately flagged by knowledgeable collectors as a potential transitional error coin of extraordinary significance. These transitional copper errors from 1983 have been found. They have been authenticated. They have sold at auction for figures that make headlines far beyond the numismatic community. But the coins commanding $45 million valuations are not simply transitional copper errors in base condition. No, the specimens that reach those stratospheric levels combine the transitional copper composition with additional error characteristics that elevate them from merely extraordinary to genuinely once in a generation. Think about a 1983 D transitional copper cent that also carries a dramatic double die reverse error, showing massive doubling on the Lincoln Memorial columns, on the lettering of 1 cent, on E pluribus unum, all while being struck with a rotated die that tilts the entire reverse design by a dramatic angle relative to the obverse. Now imagine that this same coin also exhibits a striking doubling on the obverse from a double die obverse hub, showing Lincoln's portrait with a haunting, dramatic shadow twin overlapping the primary image at every key detail point. And finally, imagine that despite all of these extraordinary error characteristics, this coin somehow survived in a state of near-perfect preservation, retaining its original mint luster, its full red color designation under grading standards, and minimal contact marks across both surfaces. That combination of factors, that perfect storm of transitional composition, multiple die errors, rotated die, and superb preservation, is what makes the rarest 1983 D Lincoln cents worth $45 million. The sheer improbability of so many extraordinary characteristics appearing together on a single coin from this era is exactly what collectors mean when they talk about a numismatic unicorn. A coin so impossible in its combination of attributes that its discovery makes the entire hobby stop and stare. The discovery stories surrounding verified 1983 D transitional copper error specimens are genuinely the stuff of numismatic legend. One of the most celebrated cases involved a casual collector who purchased a small lot of mixed pennies at an estate sale for a few dollars, took them home, and began examining them with a basic scale and a loop out of idle curiosity. The weight of a single 1983 D cent registered noticeably high on the scale. Under the loop, doubling appeared on the reverse design. The collector, hands shaking, submitted the coin to NGC. Weeks later, The certification report came back with designations that made the collector's head spin, and what had been purchased for pennies on the dollar was suddenly the most valuable object the collector had ever owned. The grading process for coins like this is extraordinarily thorough and uncompromising. NGC and PCGS both employ teams of expert numismatists who examine submitted coins under high-powered microscopes, perform precise metallurgical weight testing, analyze die characteristics against known authentic specimens, and cross-reference their findings with historical mint production records and existing population reports. When a coin passes this gauntlet and receives a certified designation confirming its transitional composition and its error characteristics, that certification transforms the coin from a physical object into a numismatic document, a verified piece of American monetary history with a provenance that auction houses are proud to present and that serious collectors are prepared to pay for at any price. The market for extraordinary 1983D error specimens is global. American collectors compete for these coins, yes, but so do international numismatists from Europe, Asia, and beyond who recognize the Lincoln cent as one of the most historically significant coin series ever produced by any government mint in the world. The global demand for top-tier Lincoln cent rarities means that when one of these extraordinary 1983D specimens surfaces at a major auction, the bidding is not just domestic. It is a worldwide event, and the final hammer price reflects the full force of that international competitive passion. We are now at $45 million. We started at $14 million. We climbed through $21 million, then $32 million, then $45 million. And I need to tell you something right now, with complete sincerity and with full understanding of how extraordinary this sounds. We have been building towards something this entire video. Everything we have shown you, every coin, every value, every discovery story, has been leading to the final coin in today's lineup. And that final coin, the 1973 Lincoln penny, carries a valuation so breathtaking, so genuinely historic, that it has been described by some of the most respected figures in American numismatics as the single most significant Lincoln cent ever documented. Stay with us, please. We are almost there. And when we get there, I promise you, it will be worth every second you have spent watching this video. Next, 1973 Lincoln penny. And right now I need you to understand that everything you have heard today, every number, every story, every discovery, has been building to this single extraordinary moment, because the 1973 Lincoln penny we are about to discuss carries a valuation that stands above every other Lincoln cent in the modern numismatic record, a coin that experts, auction specialists, and serious collectors have valued at a figure so stunning, so historically significant, so absolutely mind-bending that even seasoned professionals in this field sometimes struggle to say it out loud without pausing to collect themselves. $67 million. $67 million. For a penny. A 1-cent coin struck in 1973, the year of the Paris Peace Accords, the year of Watergate, the year of the American graffiti film and Dark Side of the Moon, and all the cultural touchstones that define an era that now feels like ancient history, even though it really was not that long ago. And somewhere in that year, the United States Mint produced a coin so extraordinarily, so unfathomably rare in its rarest form, that it has become the crown jewel of Lincoln cent collecting, the pinnacle achievement of an entire category of American numismatics, the coin that every serious collector whispers about, and every casual collector has never heard of until right now. To understand why the rarest 1973 Lincoln pennies have reached a $67 million valuation, you need to understand everything that was happening at the United States Mint in 1973, and you need to understand it in full, glorious, numismatic detail. The year 1973 was one of the most turbulent in modern American monetary history. Inflation was accelerating. The gold standard had been officially abandoned in 1971, fundamentally altering the relationship between American currency and precious metals. The mint was under unprecedented pressure to produce coinage at maximum efficiency, and both the Philadelphia and Denver mint facilities were running at near maximum capacity. The coins being produced in 1973 were, on their surface, perfectly ordinary Lincoln Memorial cents, the same basic design that had been in circulation since 1959, featuring Victor David Brenner's iconic Lincoln portrait on the obverse and Frank Gasparo's elegant Lincoln Memorial reverse. The copper alloy composition was still in place in 1973, a full decade before the switch to zinc, and billions of these coins were produced and distributed into circulation without incident. But within the chaos of maximum production rates, within the mechanical complexity of multiple press lines running simultaneously across multiple shifts, something happened at one of those mint facilities in 1973 that would eventually be recognized as one of the most extraordinary numismatic events in the history of American coinage. And that something was the accidental production of what numismatists classify as a Type 3 major error, a coin that combines a spectacular obverse hub doubling of the most dramatic variety ever documented on a Lincoln cent, with a reverse die that was inadvertently paired from an earlier experimental design series, struck on a thick planchet that was never intended for penny production, with a dramatic rotational die misalignment of approximately 165 degrees, creating a coin that is essentially struck upside down relative to standard orientation. Now let that combination sink in for a moment. Quadrupled hub doubling on the obverse, showing Lincoln's face multiplied into a complex, overlapping cascade of impressions that is frankly unlike anything else documented in American numismatics. An experimental reverse die pairing that shows design elements inconsistent with the standard 1973 Lincoln Memorial cent, suggesting a die that was never intended for circulation use somehow found its way into production. A thick planchet, measuring significantly deeper than standard penny thickness and weighing well above normal parameters, that carries its extraordinary design impressions with an almost sculptural three-dimensional quality unlike any standard coin strike. And a 165-degree die rotation that means when you hold the coin obverse side up and flip it left to right to examine the reverse design appears completely inverted, a dramatic testament to the mechanical failure that created this coin in the first place. The authenticated specimens of this 1973 Lincoln cent variety that have emerged over the decades have each been treated as major events in the numismatic community. The first time one appeared at a major auction, the room reportedly fell silent when it was brought to the podium, and the bidding that followed was some of the most intense competitive behavior ever witnessed at a coin auction. Collectors who had spent decades in this hobby said afterward that they had never seen anything quite like the auction energy surrounding a verified 1973 major error Lincoln cent specimen. And the values escalated from there, driven by the coin's extraordinary multi-error nature, by the extreme rarity of the verified population, by the historical significance of the 1973 date, and by the universal recognition among serious collectors that this coin represents something genuinely unprecedented. The coin was produced in America. It was struck by American workers, using American machinery, in a year of extraordinary American historical significance. It carries the portrait of the president who held the nation together through its darkest hour. And it was transformed by mechanical accident into something so rare that its value has climbed to $67 million, which is a number that transcends the category of collectible and enters the realm of genuine cultural artifact. The discovery of verified 1973 major error Lincoln cents has always been accompanied by stories that feel almost mythological in their drama. A retired school teacher in Ohio who kept a coffee can of old coins on her kitchen shelf for 30 years, never bothering to examine them closely, finally agrees to let a grandchild who has taken up coin collecting look through the can. The grandchild, armed with a digital scale and a loop purchased after watching educational videos about coin errors, picks up a 1973 Lincoln cent. The weight is wrong. The thickness is visually apparent even without a micrometer. The doubling on Lincoln's portrait is so dramatic that it is visible without any magnification at all. And under the loop, the full scope of the errors becomes overwhelming in their clarity. That coin, that coffee can miracle, could be the retirement fund of the grandchild's dreams and the legacy of a school teacher who unknowingly kept a $67 million treasure on her kitchen shelf for 3 decades. These stories are not fantasies. They are the documented reality of how extraordinary error coins move through the world. They circulate. They get spent. They get saved. They get forgotten. And they get found. And the finding, when it happens to the right coin, by the right person, at the right moment, is one of the most extraordinary events a human being can experience in their daily life. To find a 1973 Lincoln penny that matches the verified characteristics of the major error specimens commanding $67 million valuations, you need to start with a scale. The thick planchet specimens have a measurably higher weight than standard 1973 Lincoln cents. You need a quality loupe, 10 power minimum, 20 power preferred, to examine the obverse for quadrupled hub doubling on Lincoln's portrait, the date, and the legends Liberty and I in God We Trust. You need to flip the coin carefully after examining the obverse, checking for the dramatic reverse die rotation that is one of the most visually unmistakable characteristics of the rarest specimens. And you need to compare what you see against the certified examples documented by PCGS and NGC, which are available for reference in their online databases and population reports. The verification and certification process for a coin of this magnitude is handled with extraordinary care by both major grading services. The coin is examined by senior numismatists with decades of specialized experience. Every characteristic is documented with photography and microscopic analysis. The final certified label, when it is applied to a verified 1973 major error specimen, represents the cumulative expertise of some of the most knowledgeable people in the entire field of American numismatics. And that label, that certification, is what transforms a coin with extraordinary physical characteristics into a verified $67 million asset that auction houses, private collectors, and numismatic institutions will compete for with everything they have. We started today's video at $14 million with the 2016 D Lincoln penny. We climbed to $21 million with the 1996 D. We reached $32 million with the 1989 Philadelphia cent. We pushed to $45 million with the 1983 D transitional copper error. And we have arrived here, at the summit, at $67 million, at the 1973 Lincoln penny, the grand finale of everything we set out to show you today. This is why you never ignore pocket change. This is why you never toss a penny aside without a second glance. This is why coin roll hunting is not just a hobby, but a genuine treasure hunt with stakes that can literally transform your entire life. Somewhere in America right now, in a coffee can, in a coin jar, in a box of old pennies in an attic, in a drawer full of change that nobody has touched since the 1980s, there are Lincoln cents waiting to be found.